Alright, so I have the list up here in front of me. So today we're going to be talking about the teams that missed the playoffs and basically what do I see happening with them next year. So I have the draft order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from um, number 1, which is obviously the Bengals, to number 20. Some of these teams have multiple first round picks, so I'm just going to skip over the teams that have 2 first round picks, obviously. Don't want to talk about the same team twice. So, the first overall pick, as you guys see on the screen here, is the Cincinnati Bengals. So, it sounds like with their first overall pick, they're going to be taking quarterback Joe Burrow. Um, Next year, they're not going to adjust much. They're not going to be big players in free agency. They're probably going to lose AJ Green, the guy you see on the screen. I doubt he resigns. If he does, then he's killing his career. The Bengals are going to be bad for a really long time. Just because they don't have a core, they don't have a structure to build around. They have Joe Mixon, and then they're going to have Joe Burrow, unless they shock everyone and go for someone else. But it sounds like they're going to go for Joe Burrow. So, Bengals. What was the record this year? 2-14. Honestly, man, I say 3-13, maybe 4-12, somewhere around that range. They're gonna be bad still. They're probably gonna get the number 1 pick next year, if I'm being honest. So, they're gonna be really bad. The next team is the Washington Redskins. So the Redskins, they don't have very good pieces either, but they did hire Ron Rivera as their head coach recently, so very good move for them. They have Dwayne Haskins Jr. at quarterback, which is kind of a question mark right now. You have Trent Williams, who I think is in his 30s, Ryan Kerrigan, so they don't have a lot of young, talented pieces. They have a really good head coach. They have a young quarterback who they can maybe trust, maybe not. There's a lot of question marks with this team. I'm not sure what the record was this year. I honestly have no idea. I don't have the records up in front of me. I just have the draft order. So, obviously, if they have the number 2 pick, they were really bad. So, the Redskins, they're going to be bad again next year. They're probably going to get a top 3 pick again. Not big players in free agency, a lot of question marks. Really good head coach, but if you have a good head coach with no players, that doesn't translate into wins, right? So, Redskins are going to be pretty bad. The Detroit Lions, another questionable team. They have Matt Stafford at quarterback. I, I don't know if they're going to draft a quarterback. I doubt it. I don't know. I see them going with Stafford for another year. Man, that's pretty much all I have to say about Detroit. They don't have a lot of good talent either. They have Damon Harrison Sr. and Darius Slay Sr., which I think are juniors. Sorry, I don't know how old he is. No idea. I know Harrison Sr. is getting up there in age. So Detroit, they're going to be bad again. They're going to miss the playoffs for sure. I think they're going to be a little bit better. I don't think they're going to get the number 3 pick. I think they'll be somewhere in maybe the 7-8 range. I think they're going to improve. I think they're going to win a few games, but not enough to get them in the playoffs. Next, the New York Giants. So this team, they just fired their head coach. They have Saquon Barkley, obviously. They have Kevin Zader. They have Daniel Jones, who was their 6th overall pick last year. A lot of people hated on that pick. But he's obviously the replacement for Eli. Eli's not coming back. So you have your young quarterback. You have your amazing running back. Wide receiver is a little bit questionable. Offensive line is a little bit questionable. Defense is questionable. Aside from maybe 3 or 4 players, this Giants team isn't very good. Obviously, with no head coach, I don't know who they're going to hire, but that's another question mark for them. A lot of question marks heading into next year. Um, I think they improve a tiny bit. I think with the experience that Jones got from this year, I think he has a better season. Obviously, he fumbled and got intercepted quite a bit. Saquon Barkley was injured for a couple weeks this year, so that hurt them as well. I see them improving a bit, maybe 2 or 3 games, but again, they're not going to make playoffs in my opinion. The Miami Dolphins, not much to talk about on this team. Team was pretty bad. They ended up with the 5th pick though, so I mean, shout out to them. Everyone thought they were going to be 0-16, so shout out to them. But they beat the they beat the Patriots in the final week of the season. What a way! What a way to end the year. But running back questionable, wide receiver questionable, offensive line questionable, tight end, quarterback. I mean, do you bring back Ryan Fitzpatrick? Do you let Josh Rosen start? Josh Rosen's kind of questionable as a quarterback. Defense is terrible, aside from Xavier Howard, obviously, who might not even come back. I don't know when his contract ends. He's probably going to jump ship. Head coach is terrible. Just this whole team is bad. I don't like. Shout out to them for beating the Patriots, because I don't know how the hell they did it. But I think this team's actually going to take a step back. I think they're going to be worse next year. I see that, like, where Detroit's picking number 3, I see them getting a top 3 pick. So I would put them in with the Detroit and Redskins. I think the Bengals are still going to be worse, but I think the Dolphins are going to be right behind them. So Dolphins, they're going to miss the playoffs for sure. If they make the playoffs, I'm going to look stupid saying that. But next, the Los Angeles Chargers. Very talented core. Phillip Rivers will not be coming back as quarterback. They have announced that already. He will be either retiring or looking for a backup role, maybe another team. I think he's going to retire, but he says he doesn't want to, so we'll see what happens. He took a really, really, really big step back this year. I think he was still top 5 in passing yards, but just his efficiency with the football, his accuracy, interceptions, just not good. Like, he was horrible this year. He took a really, really big step back, and the Chargers did as well. You have Derwin James Jr., you have Joey Bosa, one of the best ends in the NFL. You have Keenan Allen, you have Melvin Gordon, who I don't know if he's going to be coming back or not. So you have the pieces there. Now, the Chargers, if they get the right quarterback, it sounds like they're going to pick a quarterback, and it would make the most sense with Rivers being gone. So you pick a quarterback, and I think you get right back in the race, to be honest. I think I'm saying the Chargers are going to take a really big step up. I think if they make the right draft picks, and if they maybe add some key pieces of free agency, I can really see them jumping back and being one of the top teams in the AFC. I'm expecting them to make playoffs next year if they make the right decision, though. With the number 6 pick, you got to draft a quarterback. Rivers is gone. There's not going to be a lot in free agency. You got to draft a quarterback, and then you got to draft some offensive line to help them out. And I think you're right back in it. So Chargers, I say they make the playoffs next year. Carolina Panthers. So the Panthers, obviously, they have Christian McCaffrey, who was in the running for MVP this year, which is insane because he's a running back. They have Luke Kuechly, or Kuechly, I don't know how you pronounce that. They fired Ron Rivera. Makes sense, he's been coached there for a long time. Very, very good head coach, but it was time for a change. At quarterback, you have Cam Newton and trying to remember the other guy's name. Can't remember it for the life of me. I think they stay the same. I don't think they're going to be very good. I think they're going to be essentially where they are right now. Arizona Cardinals. I think I don't know, they're going to lose Larry Fitzgerald. It seems that he's going to retire. one of the best wide receivers of all time, so that hurts. Kyler Murray, obviously not a target to throw to. Offensive line questionable. A lot of questions with this team as well. I see them staying where they are. I think maybe they get a little bit worse. Maybe they take over the Chargers pick at number 6. I think they maybe lose a couple more games. I don't think they're going to make any progression, especially with losing Fitzgerald. Jacksonville. Oh god, this team. They traded Jalen Ramsey, probably one of, if not the best corner in the NFL. He signed Nick Foles to a 4-year contract, $80 million. Just terrible decisions all around. Gardner Minshew, people think he's the answer. Guys, come on, man. He's average at best. He's like maybe a decent starter. He's like an Eli Manning. He's not gonna take your team to the future, so he's never gonna be a top 10 elite quarterback in the NFL. He's gonna be like top 25. Okay, so Jacksonville, they get worse. Without Jalen Ramsey, Campbell's gonna decline. I think they're gonna get worse. They're gonna get a lot worse. I expect them to probably get a top 5 pick next year. I think they're gonna be really bad. Cleveland Browns, my favorite team that I just talked about in my last video. Not much to talk about here. Very elite, talented group. Number 10 overall pick, you draft an offensive lineman. You hire the right head coach, and you get right back in it. Cleveland Browns are going to make the playoffs next year if they hire the right coach. If they don't hire the right coach, it's going to be the same exact thing. It's going to be a 6-10 losing season. Other than that, that's. I mean, I talked about it in my last video, so if you guys want to see my thoughts on that, you can go ahead and look. But that's my thoughts on that. The New York Jets, they surprised a lot of people, man. I expect them to be worse, and they got the 11th pick, so they were better than Cleveland. But they have Sam Darnold. They have Le'Veon Bell, who is questionable. It sounds like he might get traded. Jamal Adams, one of the best safeties in the NFL, if not the best. They have a lot of good pieces, a lot of talented pieces. I think they're going to... You know what? This might sound crazy. I think they're going to take another step up. I think Sam Darnold proved he's a great young quarterback in the draft. I expect him to take a step up. Le'Veon Bell's a little questionable. I don't know if he's going to get traded or not. It sounds like he's going to. I wouldn't say playoffs for the Jets, but I would say they go 8-8. I think they're going to have a 500 season for sure. The Oakland Raiders. Not much to say here. I think they're going to get worse. Sounds like they're not going to draft a quarterback, so you run it back with Derek Carr. John Gruden, I mean, yes, you have multiple first-round picks again, but, I mean, I don't know, man. You can't just build, yes, you can build through the draft. You got to build through the agency and trades as well, and they're just not doing that. You traded Khalil Mack. They traded someone else. I'm forgetting his name. Oh, shit. Who was it? Was it Amari Cooper? Amari Cooper played for the Raiders, I think? I think it was Amari Cooper. Yeah, it was Amari Cooper. So Amari Cooper, Khalil Mack, two of the best players on the NFL, and you trade them away. So, I see them taking a step back. I think they're going to get worse, no matter who they draft. They have 2 first-round picks. They have at 12 and 19. I think they're going to get worse. Colts. Not much to talk about here. You have Quentin Nelson, one of the best guards in the league. You have Ty Hilton, one of the best wide receivers. Quarterback is really, really questionable. Jacoby Brissett, however you pronounce it, is really questionable as a starter. He's decent, but I honestly don't see him as a starter in the NFL. I think he's a backup. I think they got to draft a quarterback if there's one available. If there's a top quarterback available, I think you got to take him at 13. A lot of question marks there, man. If they had Andrew Luck, yeah, I mean, man, they're missing Andrew Luck right now, for sure. fucking sure Andrew Luck retiring hurt them really bad, so I think they're going to take a step back. Buccaneers, call me crazy, but I think they get better. I think there's a chance they potentially fight for a wild card spot. I don't think they'll get one, but I think they'll be there. But it all depends, man. It all depends, because the coach, Bruce, oh god, I'm gonna butcher his name. You know who I'm talking about, Bruce. I want to say Atkins, but I don't think that's right. I can't remember. You know who I'm talking about. And the quarterback, Jameis Winston. They've had quite a few problems, especially at the end of the year. They kind of shit on each other, but I don't know, man. Winston had a really good bad year. He had 33 touchdowns. He led the league in yards, but he also led the league in interceptions with 30, and he became the first quarterback in NFL history to throw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions in 1 year. So he's questionable, very questionable. Honestly, man, I think they bring him back. I think they bring him. I honestly, Winston, maybe give him 1 more year to try and figure it out. Maybe give him the first half of the season. If it's not working out, maybe try something else. But I think they bring him back. Only 1 year though. It's like, because if you sign him to this multi-year deal, you're stuck with him. Like the Jaguars are stuck with Nick Foles. I think you have to give him 1 chance to prove himself, and if it doesn't work out, then you let him go. Denver Broncos. So Bradley Chubb, their first overall pick from last year or the year before, he was injured most of the season, I think. Quarterback, it sounds like they're going to start Drew Lock. I think this team gets worse, man. I don't see them getting better. They have the 15th pick here. I don't see them getting any better, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't see it. That's pretty much all I got for the Broncos. Falcons. So Matt Ryan took... Oh, man, the Falcons. Look at the Falcons now. What is it, 2 years removed, 3 years removed from the Super Bowl, where they were up 28-3. Oh man! And I honestly believe, ever since they lost that game, they have just been like, I think Tom Brady destroyed their souls. I mean, look at Matt Ryan in this picture, man. He doesn't even look happy. Look at them. They're like shell-shocked. They can't believe it. Look, he's like pissed. I lost the Super Bowl. We lost the Super Bowl. He looks questionable. Like, we were up 28-3. How the fuck do we lose that game? Matt Ryan, he just looks disgusted. I think Falcons get worse, man. They just, ever since they lost that game, Tom Brady and the Patriots just destroyed their souls. Like, they can't win because of that. And that's it. And last but not least, the team that barely missed the playoffs, the Dallas Cowboys. Oh boy. Where do I even begin with this team, man? Where do I begin? You have a couple of free agents coming up. One of them being Amari Cooper, the other being Dak Prescott. You also have Byron Jones, who's becoming a free agent. So they kept Jason Garrett. It sounds like they still want to keep Jason Garrett. You have Jerry Jones, who doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. You have Dak Prescott, who wants $30-40 million a year. America's team. This is the team that people are saying after 3-0 start, they're going 16-0. We're going to the Super Bowl, and they missed the playoffs, man. Look, they have a talented team, man. They have a really talented team. Dak Prescott had a good year. He just made stupid decisions at stupid times, not even stupid, like outright retarded decisions at times. and that's why they lost. That's why they're out of the playoffs. And I noticed the one game I watched, they don't hand it off to Zeke very much. I noticed, and it kind of baffles me because you have Zeke, who I believe has led the league in rushing yards twice in his first 3 years, or maybe it's 4 years, but very young, very good, very elite, and you don't give him the ball. It just doesn't make sense to me. And people are saying that Dak Prescott is one of the top quarterbacks in the entire league. If he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league, I know this is Madden, but if he's the top quarterback in the league, why is he not considered a superstar? Right? Like, look at all these guys. Where's Dak Prescott? But Dallas Cowboys, if they hire the right coach, they have to get rid of Jason Garrett. That's number one. If they keep Jason Garrett, this team's going to get worse. Alright, the thing is, this is the only team I consider it's either going to get bad or worse. I'm stuck in the middle. If you keep Jason Garrett, you're going to get worse. You're going to be bad. Especially if you don't re-sign Amari Cooper and Byron Jones, you're going to get a lot worse. Dak, I don't know, it sounds like they're going to bring him back. Hopefully not for 30 or 40 million, because that's just ridiculous. You focus on Amari Cooper, and then you do Byron Jones, and then you do Dak. You do Dak last, in my opinion. So, you keep Jason Garrett, and you're going to get worse. Especially if you lose these guys. If you keep these guys, you keep all three. Okay, you keep Byron, you keep Cooper, and you keep Dak Prescott, let's say. And you get rid of Jason Garrett, and you hire somebody else. There's rumors that they're going to hire Urban Meyer, who was the coach of, it was Ohio State, Ohio State. He just retired last year, but he's in the position to get a head coaching job if he wants it. If they hire him and keep all three of these players, I think they make the playoffs. If they lose these players and they keep Jason Garrett, they're going to miss the playoffs. So it depends. It depends on free agency big time. They have to bring these guys back. They have to re-sign them, and they have to get rid of Jason Garrett. They do that, they're in the playoffs. They don't do that, and they're out. But that's going to be it for me. The 18th, 19th, and 20th pick are Miami, Oakland, and Jacksonville, which I've already talked about. But I'll talk about the teams that previously owned the picks real quick. So the Pittsburgh Steelers would have the 18th pick if they didn't trade it away to Miami. That was the Minka Fitzpatrick trade. So Steelers, Big Ben will be coming back. He was injured really early in the year. He was out the entire year. Juju Smith-Schuster had a really bad year. Sounds like they want to trade for Le'Veon Bell again. They wanted to potentially bring back Antonio Brown. There was just a bunch of rumors. It doesn't sound like they're going to get rid of Mike Tomlin, which is a good idea. Mike Tomlin, very good head coach. Good that they're sticking with him. They barely missed the playoffs, and that's with Big Ben out. Now, Big Ben, he's questionable at this point in his career, just because of his age. He's getting up there. Don't get me wrong, he's a great quarterback, but coming off an injury, not playing the whole year, is he gonna be rusty? You know, is he gonna be? I don't know. I don't know. It's questionable. Juju Smith-Schuster, he needs to take a step up big time. He did bad this year. So Pittsburgh, I think they stay the same, man. I think they're going to be in the hunt for a wild card spot, right up there with Cleveland. I think Cleveland gets it if they make the right moves, and I think Pittsburgh misses again, and I think that's when they move on from Big Ben. So the Steelers next year, I think they're going to miss the playoffs by a few games. I think they're going to fire Mike Tomlin as head coach, and I think they're going to move on from Big Ben. I think they're going to draft a quarterback next year. I think they're going to move on. New decade, new generation quarterback. Have Big Ben back up, maybe mentor him, or you can trade Big Ben to another team if you want. Maybe trade him to Jacksonville. I don't know. So Pittsburgh, I think they miss. Next up is the Chicago Bears. So the Bears, obviously, they have Khalil Mack, Eddie Jackson, Kyle Fuller. They have Mitchell Trubisky. They already announced that they're going to be bringing back Trubisky as starting quarterback for next year, which I think is a good move. He has his moments where he's bad, but he had a good year this year, I think. There was some stat he was better than Tom Brady, and I can't remember what it was, but he showed improvement this year. Just the team around him, I think, kind of dropped the ball a little bit. I think, and like obviously they with the 19th pick they just missed. It belongs to Oakland, so they traded it away. But I think they make the playoffs next year as a wild card team. I think if they add the right pieces of free agency, they can bounce right back and be a good team. There's no reason why they shouldn't make the playoffs next year. And the 20th pick belongs to Jacksonville, but they got it from the Jalen Ramsey trade, and that belongs to the Los Angeles Rams. This is the final team we're talking about. I'm not going to spend too much on this team. Just a couple words that this blows my mind. This absolutely blows my mind. You have Jared Goff, you have Todd Gurley, you have Brendan Cooks, you have Aaron Donald, you have Jalen Ramsey, you have Andrew Whitworth, you have Cooper Kupp, and you missed the playoffs. A year after you're in the Super Bowl, you have an amazing year. You're unstoppable. Aaron Donald had an unbelievable year. You trade for Jalen Ramsey, the best cornerback in the NFL, and you miss the playoffs. Doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what their cap space is looking like. It's probably pretty bad because you have to pay a lot of good players. I think this team makes it next year, but I don't know how the hell they missed this year. With this much talent on a team, you should be the top of your division. You should be the top of the conference. So for them to trade for Jalen Ramsey and get progressively worse, you gotta look towards the coach, man. You gotta look towards what's his name, Sean McVay. You gotta look towards him, man. Or you gotta make a change. Todd Gurley, after his incredible year last year, he took a step down. Jared Goff is questionable at quarterback. People think he's a system quarterback. Maybe you look to move him. But he just signed that huge extension, so I don't even know if you can move him anymore. So a lot of good pieces that are just playing really, really badly together. I don't know if it's the egos. I don't know what the hell it is, but you gotta make a change, because when you get to the Super Bowl in the previous year and you miss completely the year after, and you got better, you added one of the best corners in the NFL and you got worse. It doesn't make sense to me, man. It does not make sense to me whatsoever. You have to make a change. I don't know if you change the coach, you change the quarterback, you change the running back, you maybe you just blow the whole thing up and you trade Donald and Ramsey and all these guys. I don't think that's the move, but I don't know. You gotta make a change. I think you gotta make a change with either the quarterback or you gotta make a change with the coach. And I think it starts with the coach. When you get to the Super Bowl and you miss the year after, you gotta look towards the coaching and the management, because the players on the field, they showed last year that they're good enough. Maybe it's the coach. So I think, but I still think they make playoffs next year. I think if they make the right changes, they'll get in for sure. So that's gonna be it, guys. That is the 20 teams that missed the playoffs. Well, let me know what you guys think. Let me know any predictions you guys have. Did I get any wrong? Did I get any right? Spot on? What do you guys think? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.